Let me go back to the previous one, and let me click on that. Research question 3 is quite unique because it requires the combination of the codings. So the research question: do Korean, Chinese, Spanish, Thailand show different patterns of acquisition in terms of core matrix indices? Well, Korean, Chinese, Spanish, and Thailand were coded under the name of framework, and also core matrix indices was coded as well as the name of the coding. Okay, so for this case, the search should be coding by coding. Can you do that or not? Can you do searches with the same level? Like, say, let's say there are files there, and there is coding there, and there is case there, and Korean, Chinese, Spanish, and Thailand are under the coding by the name of a conceptual framework. Patterns of acquisition, 117 core indices. Again, this is coding under the name of the results. So coding by coding, definitely you cannot do that. So what we can do about that? You have to create the file classification, okay? So in order to do that, you have to go to a file classification and create the new classification, okay? And so new classification and nationality, say it's okay. So first of all, let's make the nationality, okay? And so what I'm gonna do here is to assign the attribute for 17 core matrix studies. In order to do that, what I need is to give a link, okay? So if you go to the 17 core matrix studies, at the bottom there is a classification. And in the classification, you need to link the nationality you just created as a file classification. And then file classification, you do have a nationality right here. And if you click on the nationality, there are lists of core matrix studies. And then what you have to do is create new attribute, and then you should give the value, okay? And under the name of nationality, add and China, add and Korea, add Spanish, add Thailand, add United States, okay? And then you assign the attribute which is relevant to core matrix studies, 70 studies. So you should put a link there as a file classification. And then when you do matrix coding query, click on here, and then what you see, file classification. You have file classification here, and find out nationality, and then select all. Then there is China, Korea, Spanish, Thailand, United States. And right here again, select items. And then right here, what you have to do is to go to the code by the name of core matrix study framework and click on results. And because results have the subdomain, you should click on the plus sign, but before that, what you have to do is automatically select distance and cost, and then check on results. Then what you get is the results is like that. and then transpose. If you transpose that, again, there are 117 core matrix indices, and these are the nationality. So to represent the results, I like this one much better. And so I'm going to select this one so that I can see the shade there. And so if you take a look at this one, talking about the nationality, each nationality shows quite unique pattern of the acquiring 117 core matrix indices. Okay, so you see a lot of shade here, and also you can export this coding matrix. Okay, and so save on your computer screen, and then you see nationality is down there, and if you click on that, you have results like that. So United States and things like that. As shown above table, one can see the pattern among 5 countries. However, caution is needed to interpret the results. The number of participating studies is different. Korea 12, China 2, United States 1, Spanish 1, Thailand 1. To make balanced comparison, I need to balance the number from attribute. So I can go back to the attribute that I created right here, and what I have to do is to make a balance like 1-to-1 basis. So I already had 12 Korean, so I pick up one and I remove the other 11 Korean participators.
How do you decide which one to choose?
Well, it's a kind of tricky question though, but maybe random. like, so for my case, just random, but, and so I try to make make some balance down there. And so like 1-to-1 basis. And so that, for this case, cross-tab is a very interesting tool to look at. So you can also do the cross-tab here. And so usually what cross-tab does is to look at the cause from the attribute. So cross-tab can do that as well. And so if you do the wrong query, cross-tab shows you like the same results. And so you can choose the table like that and see the shade and things like that. As shown in the table, there are no core matrix measurements appearing across 5 countries. So I cannot see any core matrix index which appear among 5 countries, across 5 countries. So which means there are coding differences rather than similarities. And they do show some variation in terms of the acquiring core matrix 107 indices across countries. But again, caution is needed because I'm only looking at one from one country. Okay, so the same limitation and the same advice for the future. I need to collect more. Okay, and usually this type of research has a clear limitation for that. And so if you collect many sources of data, obviously your study will contribute a lot of knowledge on this area. Okay, so here the number matters a lot. Okay, are you with me? Am I clear? And so the research question 4, do 6th grade, 7th grade, middle universities show different indicators of proficiency, you can do the same thing, okay? As long as you create the file classification for core metric studies, then you can do file classification by coding searches here. So what you have to do is totally based on the question that you have, okay? So based upon your question, you have to think about, oh, in NVivo, what I can do about it, okay? So the logic is the same right here, and so we talk about the last session dealing with a couple of issues right here, and let me move on to today's one. But mostly you know, they are redundant. For the sentiment analysis exercise, I provide the data came from QSR sample project, and also the same way I provide the way how to do it. Compared to the previous one, sentiment analysis, where I looked at the data, chromatic studies, is more academic and dry and things like that. Here, what they are looking at is the interview data, okay? So from the interview data, you could get many things. So basically, the logic is the same. How to get it is the same, but the content is different. And separating speakers, when do you use it? If you follow the flow of the things here, let me. Okay, I'm gonna touch this one. Okay, so in order to do that, what you have to do is the right here, the one that we are gonna talk today. So let me go to a sample project. Okay, click on the sample project. If you click on the sample project, remember one thing. Every time you change the project, you have to see what's in there. Okay, and so here, what I'm gonna do, the same thing. You need to upgrade. Uh, did you open? Are you opening the sample project now?
Trying to find it, yes.
Yeah. The second session. The data is in the second session. The project is in the second session. Sample project, NVivo, and right here. Are you here?
It's still opening.
Yeah. You have to open it up because you need to take care of the structure and things like that. And then I'm gonna demonstrate cross tab and the auto coding, actually auto coding things and what else. But the relationship and social network analysis, I have some comment on that. So I'm gonna give. I did provide the data related with social network analysis as well. But are you here? Okay. Like I said, you need to take a close look at the data here every time you open new one. And if you look at this one, data, if you click on the files, uh, there is area township, interviews, literature, news article, social media. They got social media data from Twitter and survey and things like that. Again, file classification, they got the file classification as well. So if you click on the interviews, we have 14. We have 14 people's interview. Okay, 14. Bad and fall, if you click on that, bad and fall, Barry and Paul, 할매 and 할배. So, okay, sorry, you don't know Korean language. Uh, so they talk about it, okay? And if you take a look at it, they said this interview of Barry and Paul was blah 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 and things like that, okay? And so if let's see if yeah, this is an audio file.
What about the natural environment or the sort of landscape of down east? Are there things that you particularly like or value about the environment here, or don't like about the environment here?
I have kind of mixed feelings about that in terms of one thing we see right here. We have lots of foxes trying to live in the little bit of woods we have left, and you see them on the road all the time when they've been killed.
Yeah, so interview data. And so with this kind of interview data, you can, of course, do thematic analysis or sentiment analysis or things like that. Obviously, you can do the autocode things like that. So if you select, maybe you can select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you right click on that, then there is an auto code, okay? If you click on the auto code, you can identify the themes from here, or you can identify the sentiment, okay? If you select the interview data, right click on that and auto code. If you click on the auto code, then you have a chance to identify themes or identify sentiment without uh, manually coding, okay? So you can find those kind of things. And one good thing about this one, you can also conduct the crosstab. Well, talking about the crosstab, you have to take a look at the codes, okay? If you click on that, there are codes like that. And if you click on the attitude, if you click on the attitude, neutral, mixed, positive, negative, and things like that, okay? Are you here? Attitude, neutral, mixed, positive, negative, and things like that.
I've got economy. Oh, attitude, yes.
Click on the codes and
Yeah,
attitude.
I've got it upside down. I just changed the order.
Okay. And then what you can do is explore. Go to explore, and do what? Cross tab. Okay. If you'd like to do the cross tab, you go to queries. Are you here? Queries. If you click on that, you have choices here: coding queries, cross tab. The second one, click on the cross tab. If you click on the cross tab, then you can choose the code, okay? So select a mixed, negative, neutral, positive, and drag, and simply drag them right here. And then what you do, you can do searches like, okay, if you look at this one talks about the classification. So the first one, classification and township, and so attribute one. And if you nominate this one, and if you do run query, so we are looking at the perception, attitude, and based upon the township, and then you can do the run query. Then you will see this kind of fancy, decent, the diagram like that. We cannot transpose that, but again, we can choose the type like that, maybe this one, and things like that. Okay? So you see a township here, and the biggest difference between matrix coding query and crosstab is this one can show you double layer. Okay, so if you would like to get the double layer, then you can choose attribute number two, and then click on the let's say community. Okay, community and township. And so if you click on the run query, uh, you see two layers there. Okay, they are divided like that, okay? They are divided like township and the community and things like that. Although you cannot transpose this one, also you can store this query results as a part of coding if you would like to transpose this one, I would export to Excel to see more clearly and things like that. Okay, are you with me? Uh, and also, let's just export this one. Cross the query, okay, and save. Uh, I'm a kind of visual person, so I really enjoy. I really enjoy the this one. Okay, and so maybe I can choose this one, and in Excel, oh, it's so many million. Yeah, you see, it has the double layers there, okay? Double layers. And if I select this one, and if I put this way, I can, right here, Excel, you can, obviously, you can change this one. So, they do have a numbers like that, mixed, negative, neutral, positive, and they got all the numbers here. Ships coming from ship and such kind of beautiful layers right there. And they also got the what? They also got the numbers here like that. Okay. Talk about the also total here. What you can do with this one is also you can do statistical analysis. You'd like to know if these numerical if these numerical differences are significant or not. Obviously, you can do it. Okay, how? Go to SPSS. The answer is so simple, huh? And so I would choose this one, and I would like to copy this one, and I'm gonna let SPSS do the work. So if you send this one to the SPSS, you hate it?
I don't have.
You don't have it, yeah, but uh, okay. This is a kind of okay. I can do like that. Although there are many zeros, we see many zeros, but anyway, at least I could get some total and things like that. And so analysis, if you go to the analysis, you can do the same work. Okay. Again, this is not the parametric statistics, so perhaps you could try the this one, and yeah, I guess send this one and Fredman again. And if you do the Fredman, bingo. If you take a look at the statistical result here, is that significant or not?
Judging from what we did before, yes.
Significant. Huh? And so what that means is that, let me go back to Excel. What that means is that these numerical differences, mixed, negative, neutral, positive, the difference, you see the numerical differences, big or small or things like that. But what you cannot know about this one is the statistical significance, and that statistical significance is done here. And I click on the analysis, and I did the analysis part, and I got the results like statistically significant one. What I'm talking about is the mixed method research methodology, looking at the qualitative ways and looking at the quantitative ways, and they prove that the difference, the emotional difference among 14 participants are statistically significant. Okay? No matter what you do, the good thing about using NVivo is that you could get to the this kind of results, and also you can do statistical analysis coming from NVivo. Okay, so it's a kind of link, and it could also what it could also uh, it could also do many inquiries based upon the coding and things like that. Uh, Let me go to the uh, the data that I gave you on the second session. In the second session, there is the NVivo 9 English writing project. Are you here? English 9, NVivo 9 English writing project. Are you with me? Second session data. In the second session data, like the first one, there is a presentation slide and also writing project. So let's click on that. NVivo 9 English writing project, click on that. You can also see at the presentation slide, the second session, the one that I'm doing now. And so click on next and upgrade, so we can upgrade it. The data, let's take a look at the data. Yoon Soo-jung, if you click on that, Yoon Soo-jung, the Yoon Soo-jung's writing, and the coding that I created, if I click on the all, then you see the coding that I created. Click on this one. Okay, you see that one. So how to make tteokbokki. And so here she made the errors in comma and a couple of things right here. And so Yoon Soo-jung's data has two codes, whereas one more Yoon Soo-jung has four codes. So if I click on that, and if I choose this one, four codes and two codes and things like that. So the top question is that what is this all about? The same Yoon Soo-jung, and there are two coders, okay? So two people coded Yoon Soo-jung's writing, and they got different results. One from two, one from four, okay? And so for this case, if you go to explore, and if you go to explore, and if you go to Paris, there is the coding comparison. Coding comparison. What does this one is to look at coders difference. Okay, so you check up the inter-rater coder reliability. Okay, what did they code? Well, based upon the rubric, okay? If you select the code, well, actually, there's no code at all. This coding, this is kind of weird. I don't know. Cause, oh yeah, three cores, okay. If you three cores, if you click on the three cores, there is like content. If you click on that, logic, meaning, redundancy, sentence type, style, usage, linguistic, grammatical errors, of course, and organization. It talks about the organization of the writing, like italic, mechanic, and things like that. So those are the rubric that was developed from the previous researchers. So in terms of looking at students' writing ability, they advise us to see based on content, linguistic, and organization. And so these are the rubrics that the previous researchers addressed important. And so I borrowed the coding from the previous study. And every time I receive my students' writing, I code like that. For example, how to make tteokbokki. I'm going to write about how to make tteokbokki. It is famous for Korean people. I like it very much, and it is easy to make. First, buy the ingredients, blah blah blah. So, from her writing, if I found mistakes, I select them. Let's say select them, and I code like that. Okay. So those are how the codes are developed. Then the key question here is, okay, uh, there are two coders are involved, okay? So two people code them, and I want to know about the agreement between two coders. Then I should go to Explorer, and then I should click on the queries and coding comparison. Okay, if I click on that, it will ask you who coded. User group A, select each me. Click on John 1, okay, and select user group B, Stoneham, John Stoneham. And so what I would like to know, calculation types. I'm gonna choose all of them and scope, file, and external, okay? And calculation types. Display kappa coefficient, display percentage agreement, and comparison types, text coding, yes. So I'm gonna choose this one and make it run. If I run, the result is like that. So here 100 means uh, two people agreed. And if you take a look at this one, 57.410, wow, one person agree, one person would not agree. So if you double click on that, so you will see critical difference between that one. So when assess students' writing, who might be more lenient, native speaker or non-native speaker? When assessing students' writing, who will be more lenient? Yeah. So, well, because I like Life of Soul has so many chance to learning. Well, syntactically speaking, it should be like subject verb and conjunction subject verb because I like Life of Soul has so many chances to learning. And another one, but it is not like everything like I don't like noise pollution. If I give me a chance to live in a, I enjoy that. Do you understand that? This one. But it's not like everything like I don't like noise pollution. If I give me a chance to live in, I enjoy that.
Well, it's not perfect, but it's a way a girl speaks.
Yeah, I got the same response from John Stoneham. Uh, well, obviously I don't understand that. So there's difference. So John and I should agree about that. If he says it's okay, then why? If this is not okay with me, why? Well, for my case, let's see. But it's not like everything like, oh, I don't like noise, pollution. If I give me a chance to live in, I enjoy that. Maybe I guess that she would like to say, well, everything that is in Seoul may not be okay for me, but for some cases, for example, noise population or things like that. But other than that, I would like to live in Seoul if I get a chance. Am I right? That's my guess, just my guess. But that way, if you explore the coding comparison, then you can see such kind of the differences between uh, two coders at least. And so this could be a good way of looking at the inter-rater coder reliability. But again, my caution is that in terms of coding, there are two ways. One, open coding, and two, closed coding. And the one you are looking at is the closed coding. When people do closed coding, previous study has been developed a lot, and they give researcher predetermined coding name. For this case, students' errors. So error identification from the students is quite well established. It has a history of 30 years, okay? So there is no space at all for the researcher to create a new one. I haven't ever seen a new one that does not belong to this categorization. So, in terms of learners' errors, I would say it's quite fixed. Okay. Uh, on the on today's the on today to, today's conversation, uh, I talk about the iterator code reliability and cross-tab, but I would not cover the speaking or relationship or sociogram because uh, if you click on that, you can simply follow it. That's so simple. So right after class, you might do follow those kind of things. And so let me take a look at sociogram and Twitter, and let me here I talk about what sociogram is. And as mentioned earlier in Twitter, the number of relationships among people can be used to create a sociogram based on relationships. So to do that, you have to create the relationship. And to create the relationship, you can explore social network analysis and the egocentric sociogram and things like that. For this case, Susan is ego and indicates as a star. Yeah, this one works well. This one works as the slide, which makes me happy, and I can see you more. Ha ha ha, which you don't like at all. Doesn't work again? Oh, okay. 20 seconds is too long. I can move, right? So that way you can see what's going on here. And so let me finish this one. And so for today's conversation, without me, when you go back home, you just go visit here again and click on, and what you have to do is to follow the sequence, okay? If you follow the sequence, you will get the location that you want to have, okay? And so, as a final conclusion, really, uh, I must have said this one because this is quite updated part. When you click on the NVivo, when you click on the NVivo, uh, every time you click on the NVivo, you see what? Well, you should have right this one, okay? You should have this one. Do you have this one? No problem. Uh, because you have logged in before with an account of yours, you have this one. And if you don't log in and no account at all, this one may not be appearing at all. Okay? And again, where the Facebook used to work well in terms of conducting social network analysis, but that doesn't support at all. Now, what you can do is with the Twitter. If you click on the Twitter, uh, you go to NVivo by QSR. Okay, are you there? And here you see this one, the toolbar here. This one. Yeah. So when you collect the interview data, internet data, you have to collect this one. Are you here?
I don't have that.
You don't have what?
I don't have that icon.
Icon, this one?
In capture, I don't have that.
You should have this one. So if you don't have one, please do download from the QSL internet and go there and ask them to give you, well, this one, what this one? Oh, I'm sorry. And capture for NVivo, okay? And you should have this one. And if you have this one, you will get numerous data from the internet. And so if I click on that, what it asks you is capture Twitch as a data set, okay? It looks like survey. So what this one means is that although you do not distribute the survey materials in person from the internet, here for the case of QSR, you could get directly from here, okay? So if you click on the Twitch as a data set, okay, and
Got it.
you want to capture it, okay? And then you have to authorize it, okay? So right here, authorize NVivo capture to access your account. Okay, so authorize app, okay? Authorize NVivo capture, are you here?
One capture.
Okay, again, if
It
you
is captured.
yeah, if you click on this one, asks you what type of data would you like to get. So right here, tweet as a data set. If you click on the tweet as a data set and capture, it captures like that. But before that, you need to authorize NVivo capture to access your account. Okay, so authorize app, and then uh, it will capture the NVivo by QSR in Twitter as a form of data set. Okay, and so let me close this one, and I close that one, and I return to NVivo, and anything, you can open it up. So let's say, okay, this one. If I click on that, if I open up the project, I can call it to be here. So let's see. Click on the import and capture. If you click on that, see import and capture. See many data from the internet resource. And right here, time is kind of weird, but anyway, this is the data that I got. So click on that, and if you import it, then where? Right here. 25 NVivo by QSR. If you double click on it, you see the data that imported as a form of the survey like that. Okay, so here ID number 1234, and so all is 3215. Okay, and so 3215 and tweet ID, username, and things like that. If you click on the chart, you can see the chart like that, year and things like that. And if you click on the map, you see the respondents from where and things like that. And also, from here, you can do the Twitter sociogram, okay? And so by using sociogram options, retweet, maybe you just ignore mentions, click to redraw, then the mentions will be gone, and so it looks like that. Or size vertices, color vertices, filter vertices, and things like that. The meaning of those are distributed to you already. So under the section of social network analysis, you could see the meaning and you could adjust the final results as much as you like. So they do have a filters like that. Degree in, I want to take a look at the degree in, okay, and degree out. Let's take a look at betweenness, okay. The betweenness, if I click to redraw, it will give you the results like betweenness and things like that. So in order to social network analysis possible, what you have to do is the encapture, which is a critical tool for you. For your future research sake, let's say you are interested in your country's people's idea, opinion about English education, then again, you can try Twitter and go and check out the people in general's opinion, interest, or things like that. You do searches, but simply click just one time. Okay, you will get the results like survey that you distributed. Okay.